My name is Anthony Gonzalez, and this is Constitutional Freedom. To an episode of Constitutional Freedom, a podcast in which we're going to completely abdicate what is censoring what is actual voracious thought, because in today's society we see individuals, liberals in general, they tend to extradite syllogisms, arguments, they always tend to censor people, and I've always thought that people who censor you tend to not just disagree with you, that's unimpeachable, but they always tend to be afraid of you. And that's not what this podcast is about. This podcast is about spreading the truth. It's about spreading prosperity. And it's about talking about the Constitution in a way that Democrats will never talk about it because they are against the Constitution. So I want to welcome one of my friends who is a conservative, as you can see in his hat. Trump 2020. Yes, the
I still believe. I still
that is the
believe.
precise president, the insidious president of the United States. Now,
The true winner of this election, by the
Now,
way.
we saw Joe Biden, right, recently, where he called 29 million Texans, he called everybody in Florida, in Missouri, in Tennessee, in Georgia, and what you would call Republican states. He used a word, Neanderthal. Now, the word Neanderthal simply means it's a substitute for stupidity. The word basically goes ahead and calls people retards in a sense. You ask, you can inquire, why did he do that? The reason he did that is because he had not did he just have the rights to do so, but because these are states that are open to freedom, they're open to jobs, they're open to what is an economic propitiousness in a sense. You have Governor Abbott of Texas, and you have Governor Ron DeSantis of our home state of Florida. Their capacity to work for their citizens is greater than for the lobbyists because they work for the people. In Florida, there was never a mask mandate. There was never a shutdown like you see in New York, like you see in California with Mussolini, their governor. Mussolini for Newsom and Mussolini, the dictator of Italy. And then you also have in Texas, Texas lifted their mask mandate and they reopened 100%. They have their children going to schools, getting an education. They cloistered sectarian liberalistic indoctrination in the schools because they want to put American ideology first. And any state that decides to indoctrinate their children, what are they doing? They're completely, what is, I would say, abnegating reasoning in the sense that they're teaching our generation to hate our country, to hate our military, to fall for their subterfuge ideology. And here in Florida, as well as in Texas,
And most importantly, to hate on the others that disagree with them.
That's correct. And here in Florida and Texas, our governors will not let that slide. So Biden, obviously, we'll go back to that, recently called everybody who disagrees with him a Neanderthal, a retard. And the reason is because Texas reopened 100%. Florida was always at 100%. And you always take a look at, these are politicians, and I would say in terms of the Democratic Party, who have always deemed that they want unity. They say that unity is auspicious. They always want unity, and we have to come together, and all of this and that. And, you take a look at their definition of unity. I think it's a very meticulous definition. I think by unity they mean let us control our lives. Don't question our authority. If you question our authority, we will make sure that we raise your taxes, that we indoctrinate your children, that we leave you without a job. Joe Biden's first executive order was canceling the Keystone Pipeline. That's 25,000 jobs lost, 8,000 of which are union jobs. Does he not realize how arduous it is to already get a job in this pandemic? Does he not realize that? You also take a look at
It's freaking difficult. There's many small businesses that are losing their jobs. Many people losing their jobs, they can barely pay rent, and then this guy all of a sudden starts doing this, and there's people that seriously need help. Where's the stimulus bill? You feel me? People need their jobs, bro. People need to do what they're meant to do by the government.
I agree. You take a look at Obama, right? What he did when he ran for president in 2008. He said, there are no blue states. There are no red states. There's only the American states, the United States. What did he do? He said, if you disagree with me politically, it's because I'm black. You are a racist. Hillary calling half the country deplorables is reminiscent of Joe Biden calling 75
I'm,
billion patriots
look,
Neanderthals.
listen, dude. I might get called out for this, but like the thing with like being like in another race, it gives you like the ability. If you're like that person, like it gives you like automatically like give you like the race card, like as like you could be like seen as a victim, like especially to the media in some sort of sense.
I agree with that. I think that in today's society, when it comes to race, race is all it's about everything, right? And you look at gender as well. You look at sex as well. Now, I think that today we live in a radicalized society in which you look at the BLM movement, right? It stands for something, I would say auspicious. It stands for something gregarious, but the people affiliated with that movement are not patriots. They're tearing down statues of George Washington. They tore down a statue of Abraham Lincoln, the president who ended slavery. Sounds a little bit ironic if you ask me. It's like the cogent presented there is a little bit obscure to actually denote, in the sense that aren't you going for? Isn't the entire ideological specter of the BLM movement or the clarity of it, the knowledge of it, have to do with don't undermine black individuals in our community? That is the ideology behind it. But the people in
Yeah.
it are all about looting, tearing down statues, gaining attention, gaining popularity, because they themselves aren't popularized in society. So they want to create some sort of a hierarchy, in the sense that they want to popularize themselves, thinking it's cool to go into a Nike store and loot the Nike store, go to Walmart and steal televisions. Right?
And that's also ruining businesses. It's also
It
ruining
has
businesses.
ruined businesses. It has. I think that's also part of the ideology behind it. But you look at this from a racial perspective. 90% of the people in BLM are white people. They're white people. You look at them; they're probably affiliated in the LGBTQ community. Not that I go against it. Not that I find it to be acceptable. But again, this is part of our syllogism here, right? I don't see many people in the African American community support BLM. I just don't see it. Because who would want a movement going after them? Slavery does not exist. The fact that that the ideology that America is somehow systemically racist is absurd on every level. I think if you take a look at it, you what is present your political sagaciousness. America is not a racist country. I believe racism is inevitable, but I don't think America is a racist country. For example, you look at Meghan Markle, who wants to run for president. Believe it or not, the Princess of England, right? The very alluring Princess of England, who now says that England is racist because they made her learn the British national anthem. I mean, it's. I think society is actually abating in terms of intelligence. I think that a lot of people. I think, unfortunately, society is only going to get more
Yeah,
radical.
it's literally friggin' stupid. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
especially when they're gonna become like the Prince of England. Apparently, like you're obviously gonna need to sing like the English national anthem. Like you know what you signed up for.
And actually, going back to Neanderthal thinking, let's go take a look at Joe Biden calling 29 million Texans and 79 million patriots who supported President Trump or conservative in general Neanderthals.
Texas, I think it's a big mistake. Look, I hope everybody's realized by now, these masks make a difference. We are on the cusp of being able to fundamentally change the nature of this disease because of the way in which we're able to get vaccines in people's arms. We've been able to move that all the way up to the end of May to have enough for every American, to get every adult American to get a shot. And the last thing we need is the Neanderthal thinking that in the meantime everything's fine, take off your mask, forget it. It still matters. I carry a card with me, I don't have it, I put it on my desk. As of yesterday, we had lost 511,874 Americans. We're going to lose thousands more. This will not occur. We'll not have everybody vaccinated until sometime in the summer. We have the vaccine to do it. Getting a shot in someone's arm and getting a second shot, you're going to take time. And it's critical that they follow the science. Wash your hands. Hot water, do it frequently, wear a mask, and stay socially distanced. And I know you all know that. I wish the heck some of our elected officials knew it. So thank you very much.
So that was Joe Biden. It's incredible how he even had the ardor to go out and actually talk to the press, because this is a man who has gone 56 days without giving a press conference. President Trump went 27 days. Obama went
I know,
23 days.
I know, right? But like on the bright side of that, like at least we finally got a break from Jen Psaki from saying, "I'll circle back on that." Finally, I no longer
Jen
have to hear
Psaki,
that voice, bro.
Jen
Yes,
Psaki, Jen Psaki, I think she's a very monumental woman. I think she's been the only press secretary who's ever said circle back, and like such a Brobdingnagian number of times. I don't know where she got that phrase from, but you ask her what's 2 plus 2, she'll say, "Oh, I have to circle back to you on that one." I mean, it's really ludicrous. You look at the Biden administration, or I call it the subterfuge Biden administration. You look at the intelligentsia people, the intelligence of the people in the administration, it's very low. It's a very curtailed luminary, I'd say, and I don't think they should be convivial about it. I don't think they should be happy about having a low intelligence, because it actually perceives them to be what is less. Kayleigh McEnany, she spoke with eloquence. She spoke rapidly. She didn't need to circle back on a bunny-esque amount of time dichotomy in terms with Jen Psaki and a bunny-esque amount of times. She never circled back. Why? Because President Trump leaned in on information. He gave her information. He provided the American people with information. Joe Biden is a hiding president. I think of him as a sophistical president.
He's a coward, bro. We knew that since day one.
Look,
he's a coward.
I think I agree with Senator Ted Cruz. I tend to agree with Senator Ted Cruz on an amalgamated amount of times, where the Biden administration is all about being boring but radical, right? So Biden doesn't know. He probably lives in the White House bunker. Who knows? His dogs are probably running the presidency, or either Kamala Harris's. And he's very boring. He's a very aseptic person. But you also can say, he's insipid, okay, there's no doubt about it. But he's very radical. Look at the people.
Exactly.
He nominated Javier Becerra to lead the Health and Services Department, so he can be Secretary of Health and Services. Javier Becerra was a former Attorney General for California whose only experience in medicine or anything that has to do with religion was suing the Little Sisters of the Poor, a Catholic-owned organization made to benefit life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The Little Sisters of the Poor,
what does he know about health?
Okay, the guy has been an Attorney General for 20 years in California. Okay, his pantsuffy has never been affiliated with medicine, and yet the Biden administration has said, our goal is to cure this virus, and I quote, unlike the previous administration. They said that they didn't get help from the previous administration in terms of the vaccine distribution.
We created the vaccine,
President
dude.
Trump created the vaccines. And it was December 25th that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris got the vaccine before they were inaugurated. I don't even know how people can believe this amount of duplicitousness. But when it comes to the unity part, right, you look at Barack Obama, you look at Joe Biden, you look at Hillary, what do they have in common? They're all Democrats, right?
Exactly.
They've all called for unity every single time they get the chance to call for unity. It's like the only word they understand and assiduously interpret or construe in terms of their, I would say, erudite, in terms of their knowledge. It's the only word that they've ever understood correctly. So Joe Biden saying, let's come together.
America's Day. This is democracy's day. A day of history and hope, of renewal and resolve. Through a crucible for the ages, America has been tested anew, and America has risen to the challenge. Today, we celebrate the triumph not of a candidate, but of a cause, the cause of democracy. The people, the will of the people, has been heard, and the will of the people has been heeded.
A little sad.
We've learned again that democracy is precious.
How did you escape?
Democracy is fragile.
I didn't. They chopped me in
And at this
fire.
hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed.
Oh, look.
Together, we
My
shall
nose.
write an American story
What's happened?
Perhaps
hope,
you haven't been telling
not
the
fear.
truth, you know.
of unity, not division, of light, not darkness. A story of decency and dignity, love and healing, greatness and goodness. May this be the story that guides us, the story that inspires us, and the story that tells ages yet to come that we answered the call of history. We met the...
Was Joe Biden, right, calling for unity. And
Yeah.
it's a very, I would say, sophistical unity. It's a very duplicitous unity because Democrats aren't necessarily the most pro-unity individuals. The only thing they know how to do correctly is call for things and then not do it. So you look at what Biden did on the campaign trail. I'm not going to ban fracking. Why would I ban fracking? First thing he does, cancels the Keystone Pipeline and bans fracking. Those were his first two primitive executive orders. So this guy is a known liar. Okay, he's a known liar. He's a guy who called people in the African American community predators. Okay, now you look at that unity call though. It's again, as we stated before, it's reminiscent of Obama, and it's reminiscent of Hillary. Okay, calling unity. And then Obama calls half the country racists, Hillary calls half the country deplorables, and Biden calls half the country Neanderthals. Guys, so, and you still have people on the left who still vaticinate that somehow his statements are actually calling for unity, that his statements meticulously mean let's unify. I would love to unify. But it's up to the left at this point on whether or not they want to unify or whether or not they want to stick to their radical, I would say, erudite or omniscience, or radical knowledge that is very insular on radicalism and not Americanism. I've said time and time again,
being a hypocrite.
the only thing that will ever take down Americanism will be radicalism. I've said that time and time again. Now, someone that I find to be very alluring, very funny, okay, is Jen Psaki. Jen Psaki, have you heard of her? If you haven't, I'll circle back to you for her name. I will circle back to you right now for her name. I'll go Google, I'll circle back. Jen Psaki had a couple of things to say when defending Joe Biden regarding his Neanderthal thinking.
Does the president have any second thoughts about the language that he used yesterday, and how does comparing someone to a Neanderthal help convince them to change course and get on board with your public health message?
The behavior of a Neanderthal, just to be very clear, the behavior of. Look, I think the president, what everybody saw yesterday was a reflection of his frustration and exasperation, which I think many American people have, that for almost a year now, people across the country have sacrificed. And many times they haven't had information they need from the federal government. They haven't had access to a greater understanding of what the public health guidelines should look like. And those include many, many people in Mississippi, in Texas, in Ohio, Florida, in every state across the country. And, you know, he believes that with more than 500,000 Americans' lives lost, with families that continue to suffer, that it's imperative that people listen across the country, whether they live in a red state or a blue state.
Current White House press secretary Jen Psaki cannot do her job, so instead she circles back.
I'll circle back if there's more I can share with you, but I'll circle back if there's more to convey. I'll have to just circle back with you. We can circle back. I'm happy to circle back. I can circle back. I will have to circle back on that one, but I'll have to circle back. We'll circle back, certainly circle back. I will have to circle back on that one. I hate to disappoint you, but I will have to circle back with you on that as well.
Now she finally did decide to circle back. Jen Psaki. She circles back.
I often
Circles back.
I'm going to
Circle back. Jen Psaki.
I'll circle back if there's more I can share with you, but I'll circle back if there's more to convey. I'll have to just circle back with you. We can circle back. I'm happy to circle back. I can circle back. I will have to circle back on that one, but I'll have to circle back. We'll circle back, certainly circle back. I will have to circle back on that one. I hate to disappoint you, but I will have to circle back with you on that as well. I'll circle back.
Now she finally did decide to circle back.
Now that we have exposed the entirety of the Democratic Party, like the corrupt party, I think we'll have to end it there for today. Yeah, that was good for Matthew. You spoke straight facts right there.
We exposed the duplicitousness of the Democratic Party, and because we have the covet to do so, because we don't want to brainwash people. That is the goal here. And so that has been constitutional freedom. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless America.
With your help, we will take back the House. We will win the Senate, and then a Republican president will make a triumphant return to the White House. And I wonder who that will be. Who None of this is true.
Who would have thought that within 33 days we'd be bombing the Middle East? You can French kiss the guy next to you, yelling abolish the police.
With your help, we will take back the House. We will win the Senate, and then a Republican president will make a triumphant return. Who will that be?